Very well, General Espinosa Escobar. Beautiful place on this Caracas hill. Here on the border between the parish of San Jose and La Pastora, a special greeting to all the neighbors of this popular community. To the slopes of the Guaraira Rapano, the mountain, formerly known as the mountain of Cerro del Avila. Here we are in this northern part of the city. There was no better place to leave an indelible eternal mark, as is eternal the millenary culture of China, than this Caracas hill. Today we have come in perfect union of the Venezuelan people, of their military, their cadets, their officers, their soldiers, their police forces, and the Bolivarian government, with the presence of the ambassador of the People's Republic of China, Lan Hu. We have come to say congratulations to the Chinese people. Congratulations, President Xi Jinping. Congratulations, People's Republic of China. 80 years of well-earned history. We have to see, General Espinosa Escobar, what was the epic of the Chinese people and the people of Asia. The so-called people of the Far East, of Southeast Asia and the millenary China. Brothers, all of us, when the Japanese imperialist, fascist, and criminal empire invaded in 1931, all those vastness, all those territories with savage methods, that empire ended up as an ally of Hitler, of Mussolini, of the Nazi world fascism, and led the Chinese people to a fierce, heroic resistance. Cadets of my country, admired and beloved, future military of Venezuela, you have to study thoroughly, General-in-Chief Vladimir Padrino, General-in-Chief Fernandez Laris, Executive Vice President, Vice Presidents of Government, officials of the state. We have to study what happened to the Chinese people from 1931 to 1945, and how they were surprised with a horrible criminal invasion, the methods of rape, torture, that remained in a dark legend forever. And how the Chinese people resisted, defending their history, their identity, their land. And how the great Captain Mao Zedong, with the Communist Party of China and with the People's Army of Liberation, managed to raise the greatest national alliance of China, the greatest national union of China, of all the political, social, historical, and religious sectors of China, to carry out what is commemorated today as the great victory of the Chinese people, of the Chinese Republic, against the fascists, against the criminals. 80 years today is commemorated for that victory, thanks to the union of all China. They saved culture, history, and regained more than half of their territory, which they lost in this war. Criminal, colonial, wild, of the then Japanese Empire. If we commemorate May 9th, the 80 years of the victory of the Red Army of the Soviet Union against Nazi Germany, if it was the Red Army who surrendered to the Nazis in Berlin, today we have to say that it was the army of the Chinese people who surrendered to the Japanese Empire and defeated it by the central column of history, which is true. They liberated Manchuria, the Chinese people turned into an army, and the Red Army, and helped the liberation of what is Korea, what was Indochina by then. Yesterday was commemorated the 80 years of independence and the founding of the Republic of Vietnam by another giant, Ho Chi Minh, Uncle Ho, an example for humanity. From all these experiences, we have to enrich ourselves from the experiences of these people. It is admirable, Ambassador Lan Hu, how after 80 years, China suffered the blows of colonialism in the middle of the 19th century. You have to study the Opium War to see how imperialism through opium, the drug of that time, divided China, attacked China, destroyed millenary China in parts. What a great effort. And then to hit it for almost 60 years of neo-colonialism and colonialism, the Opium War, and 1,000 other things. True words, look. They got into the year 1931 with military superiority, but the Chinese people was destroyed heroically. That is why today, from Caracas, Venezuela, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which saw born in this wonderful city the greatest American of all time, our liberator, Simon Bolivar, celebrates the 80 years of China's victory and says, the victory of China is the victory of the Bolivarians, is the victory of Venezuela as well. And it is admirable how in 80 years they got over the wounds of the war, the destruction of the war, and they went from being a feudal country, very behind in industrial, technological, scientific development, with great wounds and delays in educational matters, but with a millenary culture, they went step by step, with Chinese patience, Chinese wisdom, 80 years later, to be today, the first economic, commercial, technological power. And from what we saw in the parade yesterday, in the main avenue of Tiananmen, in Beijing, it seems that China is now the first military power on planet Earth. A sister power, a friendly power, a power without imperialist vision or colonialist or slavery. All the powers that existed in the past centuries, all were colonialist. And the European powers that still exist have the complex of supremacism. They believe they are superior to others. They have the complex of believing that we are their slaves, that we must be their colonies. It is admirable the progress of our older sister, China, which must serve as an example for all the efforts of our country. Because Venezuela on the path of the socialist revolution of the 21st century, Venezuela on the path of the Bolivarian project, Venezuela, following the immortal legacy of Comandante Chavez, sooner rather than later, has to be recognized in South America as also a medium power of economic development, social, cultural, educational, technological, with its own achievements, its own efforts. Today, imperialism launches a new investment. It is not the first or the last, just another investment. And Venezuela is standing. And I tell you, Venezuela will stand with serenity, with firmness, with unbreakable faith in victory and in peace, in national union of all its people, of all its military forces, of all its police forces. We are good people. We are people who love peace. But let them know, we are warriors, brave, when they mess with our land, with our history, and with our rights. This land belongs to the Venezuelans, to the Venezuelan people. And there will be no venda patria, no empire that can touch and desecrate the sacred soil that the liberators gave us. Look at this uniform, how beautiful it is. It reminds us of Sucre, of Bolivar, of Ambassador Lan Hu. This uniform that you see here, these faces that you see here are the same, similar, they are the same as 200 years ago. Young people like them went all over South America carrying the freedom from victory to victory, from battle to battle. 200 years ago, during these times, young people like them in the Sucre army founded Bolivia. It was the great history that at the time was betrayed, but it is the great history that brought us Comandante Chavez, resurrected forever. It is the great history that has returned and will never leave. The time of glory has returned. It is the time of the great homeland. And with the free homeland and the original project, it is the best. From these beautiful Caracas that saw us born and that fill us with inspiration every day, from these Caracas in peace, free, rebellious, and beautiful, I can tell you, President Xi Jinping, dear brother, Chinese people, from these Caracas, free, rebellious, sovereign, and Bolivarian, we say to you, here, we give you this monument, this monumental square as a tribute to the 80 years of the victory of the Chinese people against fascism. Long live the victory of the Chinese people. Long live the friendship between China and Venezuela. Long live the human homeland. Long live peace. And long live life. Authorized. General, go ahead.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.